Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something.
Wait a minute, you ain't heard nothing yet.
You're listening to the Live to Create podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the official Live to Create podcast, coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. I am your host, Shane Almgren, and I am joined today from Salt Lake City, Utah, by singer, artist, and actor Alex Boyé. Born to Nigerian parents in Great Britain, Alex started his musical career in London with the European boy band Awesome. Since moving to the States, he has been a soloist with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir and appeared on America's Got Talent to rave reviews. Alex is perhaps best known for his Africanized covers of modern pop songs, and his popular music videos have garnered over 300 million views on YouTube. In 2014, he won YouTube's Cover Song of the Year award for his rendition of Frozen's Let It Go. Alex, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hey, it's good to be around. I really appreciate it.
What are you working on these days? What are you up to at the moment?
Well, right now, I'm just finishing up an album of Africanized. Basically, it's just pop music with an African twist. And so I take a lot of the top pop songs and I put like an African flavor on it. So it could be a Taylor Swift song, it could be a Jay-Z song, it could be a Justin Bieber song, it could be whatever, whatever is hot right now. And I've been doing that for a couple of years, and it's just been really, it's gone down really, really well.
Is this what you've been doing from the start of your music career, or is this sort of a late development?
Yeah, this is a late development. I started off as a dancer in in the 90s. I started as a dancer. I loved dancing a lot. And then I think around 95, 96, I got together with, I was dancing at a nightclub with a whole bunch of my boys. We were just hanging out and everything. And this guy approached us and he said, hey, we want to, would you be interested in joining up with our dance agency? And this is in London when I was living in London. And I said, well, sure, and we didn't take it seriously. We got a card. And then anyway, he called us and he said, hey, I just got you your first gig in Italy. And we're like, what? Yeah. He was a bunch of teenagers. He said there were 10 of us, sent us off to Italy. And we performed at this nightclub. It's this white building at the top of a mountain. It was the craziest thing. It's southern Italy, Rimini. And we had a blast. And I remember, we were always broke and, just always trying to find something to do, some kind of hustle. And we were just like, this is cool. This is cool. And then things just kind of started going for us, at least for me anyway, in terms of I knew what I wanted to do then.
So you guys went and you did your first gig in Italy. How did that go?
It was great. I mean, everybody was stoned and drunk, and nobody really probably paid any attention to us. But we just had fun, and we had a free trip to another country that I had never been to before, and we got the bug, At least I definitely did. So I had a lot of fun. It was great. It was the first time I realized that you could actually get paid to do something that you love. And
how long were you dancing before you transitioned to singing? And I'm going to make you tell the story about how that actually happened. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
So we did a lot of the dancing, and it was, and it was very few and far between. We'd probably get one gig every 6 months or something like that every year, But I remember we landed this awesome gig. It was for the MTV European Awards. This was in 1997, and it was in London. And I remember it was a surprise. We didn't know who we were dancing for yet. And finally it was announced and everything. And I remember we turned up at the rehearsal, which was actually on the day. And I remember George Michael turned up on stage, and we found out that he was who we were dancing for. And I remember we had been practicing and rehearsing for 12 hours. George Michael turns up, and I think he did 20 minutes, and then he left. And I remember thinking, guys, we're in the wrong business, man. Let's get it. I need to be a singer, because he's at the front. He's getting paid way more than we are, and he's doing a lot less hours. So anyway, I said, we're going to start a boy band. Yeah, we're going to start a boy band. And the guys were like, okay, that sounds great, but here's one thing. We can't sing. And I was like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of that. And so I kind of taught them how to sing. And I was being taught how to sing, not from a vocal tutor, but just from a friend of mine who was a really amazing singer. And so anyway, we started putting some music together, and in like kind of just little 8-track studio that we stumbled upon. Actually, I won this contest. It was a radio contest, and the winner got like some recording studio time. So I could go in any time and record. And this little 8-track, it was just this little small room, with an 8-track and this like beat up microphone. But we made the most of it, and we ended up kind of just choreographing and orchestrating this thing where we were a boy band now, and I was like the lead singer. And then we started traveling all over at this at the radio station in London. We started hitting all the nightclubs and just doing that whole thing. We weren't making any money. We were always broke. We were always starving and hungry, but we got out there and we were performing at these radio stations. After a few years of doing this, we'd start seeing we're performing all these major acts that were coming in from the US. Whether it was Backstreet Boys, we opened up for Jay-Z one time. This was in 97 in Germany. Missy Elliott, all these acts, and half of them we didn't really know who they were either. They just barely just kind of started out in Europe or in England. And so anyway, we got to a point where we were just like, some guy who always saw us on the radio station every time, all the tours, he finally said, "So what label are you guys with?" We're like, "We're not signed to a label." It's like, "What? How the heck did you get on this tour?" We're like, "We don't know." Yeah. So eventually he was like, "We got to do something about this." He hooked us up with a buddy of his. 2 months later, we ended up at Universal Records, signed to Universal Records UK, and it was amazing. And then I remember we put out a couple of singles with Universal. Both of them flopped, didn't do very well, and we got dropped. But we had a great time, great experience, touring all over the place. We learned a lot. And then we were kind of really, really depressed, and our then manager called us up and he said, "Hey, are you sitting down?" We're like, "What?" He said, "You just been offered a deal by a German record label." We're like, "Really?" And because when you're into girls and stuff like that, we're like, a German record label, seriously? Are we going to be hanging out with girls who are like shot putters and stuff like that? And we had no idea. We'd never been to Germany before. We're like, just see it out. Let's go to Germany. Let's go meet with them. And we turned up in Germany, and there was, I kid you not, I think that there must have been about 2,000-3,000 people at the airport waiting for us, girls with like little sticks with our heads on it. And they were cute, they were fun. We were like, wait a minute, like our whole perception of Germany totally just changed in that one exchange. Some of the most beautiful girls were like, oh my gosh, we can get into this. So we were signed to this label for about 3-4 years. No, actually 5-6 years. We traveled all over Europe. We had one hit, which was called Rumors. It was a cover of an old Titanic social club called Rumors, and we did like a hip hop version of it. And we milked that song for like 4, 5, 6 years, touring all over. We got like top 10 hits in about 15 European countries, and we just had an incredible time. We had a blast. But we just couldn't get past that one song. We tried to get more songs, we just couldn't. And we realized, I look back now, and this is like 20 odd years ago, and I realized that one of our biggest mistakes is that we were milking that one song forever because we thought that song was going to live forever. And then when the song is out of the charts, it's like you're struggling, and you just, we had all these opportunities, we kept turning them down, and I just realized that it wasn't really about us, it was about the song.
Were you guys writing everything yourself, or did you have accomplished co-writers?
I wrote a whole bunch of stuff myself. We had a couple of songwriters, but we weren't really big into finding the big songwriters who were having hits right now. And we could have, because we had great connections, but we were just so naive and just new to the whole thing. We just thought we could do it ourselves. We got a label, that's all we need, And that was one of the biggest. I look back in hindsight. And one of the things that we should have done is that we should have kept seeking out people who wrote hit songs. I'm talking the big songs. Mm-hmm. That would have kept us around. You live and you learn, but we had a great experience.
Who were you listening to, or who were your influences at the time, especially growing up?
Oh my gosh, Bobby Brown, New Edition. I was listening to a lot of Motown stuff. listening to a lot of like the 80s, 90s hip hop, you know what I mean, from the Big Daddy Kane and Queen Latifah, and you know, and you know, a lot of those bands, and African Bambaataa, and we were into like the electro rock then, and electronic music where everyone was body popping, and you know, wearing their shell suits, we used to call them, you know, the Adidas shell suits that were real shiny and everything. And so there, I had my big afro, kind of like that looked like a shoebox. It was like my afro was just so square. Because I used to use a shoebox to keep it square, you know what I mean, just patting it down and everything. But yeah, you know, I was just doing everything. I felt like I was like a, you know, jack of all trades and master of absolutely nothing. So that was what was frustrating for me. We were doing really good things, but I never focused on anything long enough to become a master at anything.
And then how did you end up in the States?
Well, you know, I was doing music out there, and you know, at that time, I had signed a deal with the record company, and it was just kind of taking me down a road that I didn't want to go, and just every direction. It always just seemed to be about just parties and drugs, and it was just to a point where, you know, if someone asked you to another party, it was almost like you knew exactly what was going to happen. You knew what time you needed to be there. You knew what time were you going to leave. You knew exactly who you were going to meet, those types of people. It just got so boring, you know what I mean? Just so predictable and boring. I was just like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of this whole situation. And I wanted to do something different. So my goal, you know, when I was out in touring, we used to tour with the Backstreet Boys a lot. And I remember their manager was, or their tour manager was Justin Timberlake's mom. And, you know, she would always say to me, Alex, you need to go solo. And if you do go solo, come out to Orlando and we will get you signed. And I was just too loyal to my boys. I just didn't want to do that. You know, and so I was just like, okay, you know, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And so I missed out on so many opportunities because I thought I needed to stick and stay with my boys. But when I was with my boys, we didn't know what we were doing. We had no idea. We had no structure, nothing. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that at times I look back and I'm like, okay, maybe we want to take this direction. So anyway, I just thought, you know, I'm going to try, and I wanted to go solo. But I decided, because I became a Mormon at the age of 16, and it was like I felt like I was living a double life, you know what I mean? Like, as a Mormon, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you know what I mean? No sex before marriage and all that kind of stuff. And so I was in the band, and I never even had sex. That I look back and I think that was one of the craziest things, you know, ever. And
so you're a good Mormon and a bad rock star.
That's exactly it. So, but then it was like I was fighting myself, you know what I mean? I was fighting with both sides of who I was, and it didn't mix. And so I was always depressed because you know, people talk about being true to yourself. I wasn't true to either. I felt like I was just kind of like floating in between each and other. So I just made a decision that if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to just go and do it. So I moved to Utah. And I lived in Utah for like about 16 years, and I just decided that I was going to just, you know, be who I wanted to be in my heart and find peace at that. And that's what I did, and I found a lot of peace at that, and I was doing, you know, gospel music for like 15, 16 years. And I had a blast, I had a lot of fun, and I still to this day don't know how I actually managed to make a living out of just this small niche market Mormon Christian gospel music.
I'm gonna name a very tiny band or choir that most people have probably never heard of, and you tell us if you have any affiliation with it. The Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Yeah, so I ended up going from a hip hop band to singing as a lead soloist in the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. With me, I'm the type of person that if everyone's going one way, I will go the opposite way. And I realized that that's how my life has been. And so, you know, here I was, you know what I mean? I could have been doing all this hip-hop music and just getting back in, do another album, get another manager, all that stuff. I decided to just pack it all up. I moved to Utah, where I was like, at that time, I was probably like the only black person for like, you know, 10,000 miles each radius, you know what I mean? I love it out here. I'm actually still here. And I got married.
Are you in Salt Lake City or?
Yeah, I'm in Salt Lake City, right next to Park City, where they have Sundance every year. I live like 25 minutes from there. The scenery is beautiful. The people are awesome. I built like a name for myself here in Utah, and I've just had fun here, And I was happy with just doing that until YouTube started.
It's the YouTube revolution.
Yeah, because the thing is, I was trying to get a deal again, and nobody would sign me. I every now and then I'd go to LA and just venture out and go see what's going out there, and I always came back empty-handed, and no one's interested in what I was doing, So I came back home. I got a phone call from a guy. These two guys. One's a classical pianist and a classical cello player. And they started up a group called Piano Guys.
Yep.
And what they did is they took classical music and they took all the pop songs, all the popular pop songs from Usher to Coldplay to whatever, and they would do classical versions of it. And they became very, very successful very, very quickly. And they had called me, because they live in Utah also, they called me and said, hey, would you like to do a collaboration? I'm like, sure. And this is when I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I was like, I gotta make some good money. So anyway, they called me up.
And that was Paradise, right? Coldplay's Paradise?
Yeah, so we did a version of that, Coldplay's Paradise, and we called it Peponi. They asked me to sing in Swahili. And I'm like, oh, I'm the only black dude in Utah, and you expect me to know how to speak Swahili? You know what I mean? I'm like, no, I don't know. So I had to go to the flipping library and get Rosetta Stone tapes and try to learn how to speak Swahili. That failed miserably. So I called out my mom, in England, and she speaks Yoruba, which is a West African dialect. So she said to me, I asked her, I said, can you give me some translations of like Yoruba words and stuff? So instead of doing it in Swahili, I did a lot in Yoruba, because I figured those guys wouldn't know the difference anyway. So I went and I recorded it and did a bit of Swahili and Yoruba and different African languages and scatting and stuff like that. Went to the studio and I started doing this. And what blew me away the most was I didn't know what was going to happen with the song, but what blew me away the most was the ease and how easy it was for me just to sing any African language. And not only that, the amazing feeling it was. And I realized that there was something to this, and it was something that was always inside me naturally, but it just came out right in the studio. And I could not believe it. In fact, I was pinching I was like, what just happened there? It was like I was in a daze. 3 weeks later, I get a call from the guys, the piano guys, and they said, have you checked out the video on YouTube yet? I said, no. And this was like 4 or 5 years ago, you know what I mean? Whereas like nobody had 100 million views, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you got like 1 million views or 2 million views, that's the equivalent of 100 million views today.
Right.
So they called me out and said, you probably go check it out. I looked at the video, it had 11 million views in the first week. And I was like, are you kidding me? It went nuts. It went wild. They started getting hit up by record companies, the whole thing. And it was just like, this is crazy, man. Went from like nothing to just like this huge juggernaut, you know? And so they had me tour with them for a bit and stuff like that. And then I just thought, I was getting all these fan mail from totally different places all over the world. And they all kept saying, can you do more of this Africanized stuff? I remember someone put this even, do more of this Africanized stuff. And I'm like, you know what? That could be, there could be something in that. So I gave that a name of what I did. So I started Africanizing everything, Africanizing popular songs, Africanizing rock songs, Africanizing, you know, whatever, you name it, hip hop songs. So I've built a channel of about 60 videos, and I've got over 250 million views right now. And I'm getting hit out by record companies again. And you know what's crazy, Shane?
What's that?
I've been saying no to every single one of them.
And you told me, I think last time we talked, that it's because of the song, right? You're searching for the songs?
Yeah. Because what I noticed, and this is what I learned from before, if you don't have a hit song, don't be with a record label, man, because you will lose money. But if you have a hit song, then they will put money into it, and you will be the boss. You know what I mean? They'll put you up there on the pedestal, and you'll be killing it. You know what I mean? And so I thought, in my maturity, you know, and I guess, you know, going through just all the crap and just learning the hard way, in my maturity in that way, I've just decided, I've said no to all of them. I've had 4 different offers in the last 6 months. and all majors, and I've said no to all of them.
How diligently are you pursuing those songs?
Right now, I've decided that I'm going to pursue it a lot more. I've been pursuing it a lot more than I ever have before. So, but it's exciting because I think I've found some. So, but what I'm doing, instead of going to the label and having to do it, I'm doing it myself. So, so it's taking a little longer and taking, a lot of money that I could get from the record label, but, doing it myself. So, but it's exciting. It's exciting because I know that when it happens, it will be done my way.
And in the meantime, watching these covers, I mean, when Frozen came out, everybody and their brother was posting a video of Let It Go, and then you did one, and I believe it was the YouTube cover song of the year.
Yeah. It was 2014. It was the top cover of the year, and it was amazing. And so that was the other thing. I decided I got this bug of just doing YouTube videos and seeing where it got and where it went. And so, every time something big would happen, maybe there's a big movie coming up or a new song, a brand new song or something like that, I would do a cover of it. And, I started touring with it and doing concerts and, and it's just been awesome. The fan base just worldwide now, and it's just been, it's a blast. And I get to do it, on my own, in the way that I want to do it.
Are you just selecting songs that you like to sing along to or that make you move, or do you take fan requests?
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of fan requests, and basically I just take the top 10 hits of the time and do that. Because, sometimes it's like, if the song is already hot, then, it basically builds a platform for you. And, you still got to work at it. I mean, when I did the Frozen one, if you think there was probably about 15 million versions of Frozen after the original one came out.
Yeah.
That was at least. And that was just in America alone. So, you know what I mean? So, luckily my one came out as the cream and came out on the top. And so, it's been a great formula, and I've been doing a lot of that. That's helped me build a fan base, by doing that.
When you guys auditioned on America's Got Talent, I know Howie Mandel said that in 6 years of doing the show, you were his favorite musical act.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you to hear that?
That was mind blowing. I don't know if you saw the camera went to me and I was just in tears, and I got down on my knees and I was just like bawling like a little baby. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, it was really, I think that what it was just that I hadn't performed much. I just spent my time doing so much online that this was one of the first times I did something offline. And the reason why I went, actually, because a lot of people say, you already have a name, you already did stuff, well, why go on America's Got Talent? It doesn't make sense. Well, the reason why I went on is because I wanted to expand my fan base. That was it. I wanted to expand it to a new market, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, I got eliminated in the second round, but what was cool was after, that, my all my social networking just spiked. My views spiked up, and my, followers, started to spike up, and everything on everything. And so it was a great opportunity. It was a risk, it was a chance, but it really came true for me.
When you do these cover videos, how much input do you have, or do you have a team around you that's coming up with the concept? How much work goes into producing those videos?
Well, my team is 3 people. It's me, an engineer, and a camera guy. That's it.
And you guys just jet around the world to whatever location it needs to happen in?
Yeah, my thing is, my music, I want it to be really organic, meaning that if there's an electronic song that's really huge, like an EDM song that's really huge, like a Avicii or something like that, I'll do a version and I'll make it really organic. I mean, I'm using like African instruments. I'm using instruments that people would make, you know what I mean, out of, stuff you'd find in the forest. And I would do like organic versions of it. And I just found a lot of joy and excitement in just doing that, And so, yeah, it's the process is really simple, but I just have so much fun doing it.
I'm very curious to talk a little bit more about the YouTube route.
Yeah,
because it's a non-traditional route, or at least it 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, it didn't exist. And now you can sort of achieve the success that in the past it would require a record label to do.
Yeah.
How much guidance did you have in doing that? And how much of it was just trial and error on your part?
Yeah, I had absolutely no guidance, just trial and error. Although, you know, I had some real good friends who were killing it right now. Lizzie Sterling, she's a good friend of mine, and she has over 7 million subscribers on her YouTube page. She's jet setting all over the world, GMA, CMA, every initial she's doing right now. And then also the piano guys who are just doing really, really big things. And so, you know, I get some advice from them, and I just look at them. I just look at them as a template as to what I want to build. And then, you know, put my signature on it. So, yes, it's been trial and error and a heck of a lot of money. But, you know, it's satisfying when you wake up and you do what you love and you go, you know, to bed, you know, with a smile on your face because you did what you love. I think that's what success is for me.
Have you found a way to monetize the YouTube channel in a way that at least sustains the growth of the channel?
We're getting there. We're starting to get that, and it's what's been cool is that, you know, you get brands that are asking you to do videos for them and stuff like that, and they pay you for that, stuff like that. So, you know, you get to a certain point, and people start approaching you, and so that's what I'm getting now. We're getting to that point, and it's getting really, really exciting. I got approached by Ford actually, and asked if I'd be interested in putting together a video for a commercial.
What advice would you give somebody who wanted to start a YouTube channel and they wanted that to be their income or their business?
Yeah. You know, this is what I would do is I'm going to give, from the experience that I've had, I'm going to give you a formula, which is a dead cert. Not saying that you'll get viral videos every single time, but you will build a fan base. And this is it right here, okay? I'm going to tell people right here how it works, okay? I will download the Billboard app on your phone, okay? And every month, look at it and see what songs are top 10, not top 20, not top 40, top 10, because that means those are the ones that are selling right now, okay? And what you do is you do a version of it. Now, when I say a version of it, you don't copy it. Whatever it is, it's your style. If you do polka dot music, then do a polka dot music of that top 10, you know, weekend, you know, song. You know what I mean? If you're into, like, trap music, if you're into jazz, do a jazz version of that top Drake song or that Rihanna song. So you're still making sure that it's you. But let me give you an example. What we did with Paradise, the Coldplay one, was genius, but we didn't even realize it. It took us a while to realize how that worked. So when the Coldplay song was out, I think it had 260 million views, okay, the original one. Mm-hmm. So we did an Africanized version of it. While it was still hot, people were still searching for that version. And sometimes they would accidentally fall upon our one. So we get 20 million views. We're getting the crumbs off the table of the original, which is 250 million views. But hey, 20 million views is such an awesome.
Yeah, that is.
So what happens is you're playing with algorithms and search engines, but you're also making sure that you're doing the best version of that song. And then what happens is people accidentally find it and they're like, hey, this is actually pretty decent. And then they'll start sharing and say, okay, this is the Coldplay version, but have you heard this guy's Africanized version? Or have you heard this guy's Jamaican flute version or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is a way that you build a fan base, and then eventually you keep doing it, and eventually you start coming into your own, and people start to subscribe to you, and they cannot wait for you to put out your version of the hit song that come out. Like so many times, like even when I'm not doing it, I get an email, say, Alex, man, what's going on, man? You're just throwing up. Like, what? Rihanna just put out a new song. Where's the Africanized version? You know what I mean? It's like, right.
In your experience, what is the window? Once a song is in the top 10, do you have a month? Do you have 6 months? How long before it's off somebody's radar?
Oh, yeah. Nowadays, This was like 4 or 5 years ago. Nowadays, the window's getting even smaller, because what happens is that there's so many people that are doing the same thing. You type in the number one song in the charts right now, okay, and then you type that in YouTube, and there are already millions of covers of that. But I'm going to tell you something else now. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I just love. This is another secret, all right? And I'm going to tell you people, okay, all your listeners, and I guarantee you, okay, if you follow this, you will start building up a fan base. Okay, this is what you do, because this whole formula is getting old now. Everybody's doing it. But this is what you do. You download the iTunes app, and when you look at the iTunes app, you look at the songs that is just about to hit the charts. The songs that have just been released. Or should I say, because it's usually, it'll be like hot artists or ones to look for or whatever it is. So you want the ones that have released but that haven't charted yet. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Let me give you an example. Charlie Puth. After that big hit, of course, you know what I mean? That he did with Wiz Khalifa, and See You Again. And that was huge. And then his follow-up single, one of them was a song called See You Again. No, sorry, not See You Again. That was a big one. One Call Away.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I didn't do this, but I had a friend of mine that I had him do it. So he went on iTunes, and it hadn't charted yet. It's just barely released. So it's a dead cert that whatever he releases next is going to be huge. Even if it's not going to be as big as See You Again, he's on the map. So he's going to get millions and millions of people searching for that next song, his new song. So you do a version of it. Now you've got 3 or 4 days because it's not even charted yet. So you put out a version. You can just do it. You point a camera in the studio with a studio mic. I don't care. Real simple. And you put it out ASAP. Then what happens is when his charts, now you have millions of people looking for his version, and
you're ahead of the game.
Find yours. So you're back in that swing again. So it's always changing. It's always changing. You know what I mean? The formula is always changing. But the key is, guys, is to go and hit up the songs that's not released yet. I mean, that's not charted yet. So that's just barely been released, and do a version of it. And now sometimes it's obvious, which one's going to be big if it's from a big artist. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If Drake has just barely put his song out, it hasn't charted yet, but he put it out, it's probably 3 days old, 2 days old, do a version of it.
Well, I know this song has been out for a while. It's probably off the charts, but it is my personal request. If you ever get a chance to go cover it and do an Africanized version, I want to hear Alex Boyé's version of Rachel Platten's Fight song.
You know what? I totally should have done that. I had it in my mind. I was going to do it, and I had like about 50 other projects going on. But I love that song. That is actually really cool.
I can see you doing that. How many different African languages do you sing in?
I like the way that you said sing and not how many different African languages you speak, because I don't speak any. I speak Yoruba, which is a little bit of Swahili, a little bit of Twi, which is a Ghanaian language. But it's so easy that I've got friends and consultants that help me with songs, so I can sing in any language that's out there. Particularly African language, because some reason, I guess it's because it's in me, and the roots that's in me, I can just pick up any African language and sing it. At least I can take a sentence or take a verse or take a whole chorus, and I can sing it with the right accent. So it's the world is my oyster, really, in that way. So I've probably sung in about 20 different languages.
Oh wow!
So far.
What song's up next?
Well, right now, I'm actually, I just finished doing a version of Jungle Book, Bare Necessities, and it was a mashup of that, and it was for a charity organization, and that went really well. So right now, I'm actually just working on my concerts, so, and on a tour. So I kind of slowed down a little bit, but I just kind of wait until a song really, really hits me really, really, really hard. And then I'll do it.
What was the last song to do that to you?
I think the last song that hit me like that was, I would say, I gotta go back and look back now. I've got so many videos because I've been doing a lot of classical stuff. So they haven't been like the hottest stuff out there, but I've been doing a lot of classical stuff and adding African sounds to it. But I'd say probably the last one was that "Shake It Off" the Taylor Swift one, where I did an Africanized version of that, and that's what I did on America's Got Talent. That really went down really, really well.
Let's talk a little bit about the creative process, like especially just as far as daily activities, daily habits.
Yeah.
Do you have a daily routine that you dedicate set amount of time or certain hour blocks, or are you in a position where you can just wake up whenever you want and do whatever the mood strikes you that day?
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much it. You know, right now I've got a 2-day-old baby, and so we've kind of slowed down a lot.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm hanging out the house and just taking care of things and making sure my wife doesn't carry all the heavy stuff and stuff like that, and just, so we're having fun with our little one. We've got 5 kids, so this is our 5th one. So I've got 5 kids under 6. Can you believe that? Well, 6 and under. So
yeah, 6 more and you got a soccer team.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we're working on, man, to make some money with the team. But anyway, so yeah. So right now we've kind of slowed up, but I'm just kind of doing a lot more, just prepping and just getting ready for summer, because the touring season's coming up and I'm getting crazy bookings. In fact, I'm going out to Egypt. Got a call to do a concert in Egypt on the beach in Egypt, and then a corporate concert in Dubai and Hawaii and Puerto Rico. So, that's the other thing of this whole YouTube thing. I have not stepped foot in that place, but they're telling me that my YouTube music is big out there.
And I'm hearing that you're not getting booked anywhere other than the beach. That's got to be rough.
Yeah, that's right. I'll take it, So, so I'm just basically just working and preparing on my shows for summertime.
How much rehearsal do those shows take to get ready for?
What's cool about it is that, sometimes for people it's like, what song should I do at my concerts? And what I do is I do the biggest ones, the ones I get the biggest views on. Mm-hmm. So it's like great market research, and then I just find ways to do it. I'll have like a big jumbotron screen, and I'll show the videos in the background of performing them live, and it's just amazing. It's just taken off. It just goes down so well, and I have a lot of African drums, and sometimes I'll bring dancers, and I'll bring a band. So it just really just depends on the song. But it's just really exciting. The creative process on that is just so much fun, because I can make it anything I want, because the songs are already songs that people know and are already popular, and then my version is already, people know as well. So that comes to the concert. So it's great.
Are you writing it all these days?
Yes, I'm actually working on some original material. I've done a few songs I've been working out in New York, and working out there. I just did a duet with Peter Gabriel, and it is just amazing. But the other one I just did one with Marie Osmond, and I said her album just went to number 8 in the country charts, and I've got a song on there. Ooh. And what's crazy is that I'm getting a whole bunch of people asking me if I do country songs.
Dude, come to Nashville. There's a bunch of hit songwriters here.
Well, listen, I'm not even kidding you. This song, "Then There's You," it did really, really well with Marie, and it's like the black guy doing country. I know it's done before. We got Darius Rucker, and what's that guy's name? What's that guy's name?
Cowboy
DJ Richard.
Oh, I was thinking of Cowboy Troy.
Yeah. But that's only 3 compared to how many Caucasians are doing it. So it's like, hey, there's still room. But I'm really considering putting out an EP of country songs, original country songs with an African kind of twist. So, maybe I should talk to you about it. If you got any connections?
Yes, I have all of the connections here.
But it's opened up so many doors, that song, I'll have to send you the video to it, but it went down so well. Radio started to pick it up too. So, looks like I've got like another avenue that I'm going to be chasing.
So one of the things I was going to ask you is what piece of advice you would give somebody who wanted to do what you're doing. And I think you said it earlier when you talked about how the song is king.
Yeah. And let me tell you, if you're not doing YouTube covers, you've got to study. You got to study all the hit songs, and you got to study what makes them big. Like sometimes you can find there's a weave in and out of that, you know. And of course there are some of them that just come out of the blue. They're like, what? You know what I mean? Like Gaultier used to know, you know what I mean? There's no formula for that. You know what I'm saying? Right? But in general, you know, there was a type of formula. I would study those songs, study the top 10 songs, the top 5 songs in the charts, and see what they're doing, see how they do it, see how the music is, how they transition, and all that kind of stuff, and the style, and just put your unique twist into it, and see what you come out with. It's exciting, man, you know?
And when you study it, are you breaking down like chord structures, chord patterns, or like the message of the music?
It could be anything. Yeah, I mean, you know, generally, I remember, did you see this YouTube video where it was like this guy sang like, I think 200 hits with the same...
Yeah, it was a comedy duo in Australia, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. You know what? It was a joke, but that's really, really genius, and that's very true. If you take out the jokes and you just listen to the music and listen, it was very true. They had the same chord progression. That's nuts.
1, 4, 5 minor 6. That's what it was.
It was crazy. Dang it, write a song over it, man. If it ain't broke,
don't break it.
You know, exactly. You know what I mean? Put your flavor on it. You know what I mean? Put your flavor on it. You don't have to copy everything. You know what I mean? You can grab the chord progressions, but put your own flavor to it. You know.
What's been the most discouraging part of this whole journey for you?
Oh, that's interesting, because you know what's funny, Shane, is that I used to see it all as very discouraging. and one thing I realized is that once I changed my attitude on it, it started to become exciting again. I can't really explain it, but it's like this thing where so long I was like, oh, I'm too old. They say I'm too old. I'm in my 40s. Nobody wants to sign a 40-year-old, or I'm too this or too that, or nobody wants to listen to Africanized music. It's too specialized. But 250 million views later, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, I think for me, it was really not even focusing on it at all, like ever. Just focusing on what I could do and focusing on the good stuff about it, and not necessarily what's not working and what people aren't doing anymore. Because once I've noticed is that there's so many people say, oh, well, don't do this style of music anymore. It's old. It's done. It's out. But then, 3 months later, that very style of music Drake has done, or whatever, he's done a cover, there's a sampling of that very thing that you're not supposed to do in his song that's number one. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's like, if your attitude's right, the facts don't count. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like saying, you go to an area and they say, hey, man, this area, nobody's signing anyone in this label, anymore. You know what I mean? But yet you come out, you're standing at that door, and there's like 5 people that just walked out and they just got signed. You know what I mean? It's like, somebody's got to get signed. That's what you want to do. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to have a hit song. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to, put out another track that's, killing it on the charts. Somebody's got to put out another, huge hit on the dance floor. And I just look at it in that way, instead of looking at what can't be done. You know what I mean? Because all the times when they say it's not done anymore, it can't be done, people are flipping doing it.
That is the email signature that I've got at the bottom of my Gmail account. It says, the man who says it cannot be done should not interrupt the man doing it.
Brother, hallelujah. That's exactly, and you know what? Oh my gosh, Shane, that's a killer. Can I steal that? Because that's what everyone's doing right now. It's like all the people who are saying it can't be done, they're the ones that just ripping on the people who are doing it, basically. When I went on America's Got Talent, I want to put a band together, but I wanted to put the biggest bands that they've ever had before, on stage. And so I managed to call out people from Juilliard and convince them to come on stage with me to on that audition. So we had like 8 horn players. I got 2 backup vocalists and 2 tuba players. And all I had that I brought with me, my friends, there was 4 of us from Utah. And the rest of them were all from Juilliard and from just around the studios around there. And we'd never rehearsed before. The first time we rehearsed was downstairs in the basement of the venue where we were filming. That was our only rehearsal. And we went up and we get there on stage. And Howie Mandel says in his 6 years, that's the best act he's ever seen.
So that was the first performance coming up from the basement. You guys are walking.
Yes. That was the other reason why I was in tears, because I did not think this was going to work for a while. And I was just like, but I got to believe that I'm here for a reason. And that was what was mind-blowing, because people were about to cancel. The guys were asking for more money. The guys from Juilliard saying, we can't stay unless you pay us more. And so I spent so much money. It was all out of my own money. Mm-hmm. I was talking about union fees and all that type of stuff. And so I just paid them all. And, you know, now I've got something to prove. I've got something that I can use to get more gigs, bigger gigs. You know, just that one video alone, you know, gets me a whole bunch of gigs, you know. So.
Who in that band was part of your crew?
None of them. I just put the other band, my band, I just been working with them for like 2 months, 3 months.
If everything goes the way you'd prefer, what are you going to be doing in 5 years?
Yeah. I'll be one of the biggest entertainers on the planet.
That's bold. I love it.
Yeah, I will be.
Go bold or go home.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I've got a list of final parting questions. Is there anything else that you would like to leave us with?
You know, with me, I think it has so much more to do with our attitudes. I've noticed that those people who are successful have better attitudes, not attitudes in general, but better attitudes about their music. Those people who have doubts about their music will never ever make it. Those people who just have this feeling inside, even if they force it, that says, you know what, I deserve a place here, wherever it is that they want to be. They seem to be the ones that get it. And so I would say sometimes it has more to do with the attitude than the talent. And that's what I'm learning. This is something that I'm learning. It's not like, oh yeah, look, check me out. But this is what I'm learning, and I'm seeing the times when I've had pockets of times when it's really, really worked. There's been times when I've had that type of attitude. So it's like I always say, if the attitude's right, the facts don't count. You will kill it in whatever it is that you're doing. There's a way, there's a place. There really, really is.
I like that quote.
You know?
I will trade you that quote for my quote.
All right. Yeah,
perfect.
Done.
All right. Cool. All right. Here we come to the end. If your job only paid the bills and not a penny more, would you still continue to do it?
No.
That's very honest.
Yeah. If it only pays the bills, it's not worth doing. But what I mean is that I'm talking about like a job that I'm just doing it just for the money. You know what I mean? I'd rather just not do it and just do what I love, even if I'm not making as much money.
Gotcha. Okay. What talent or skill do you not have that you wish you did?
Read people's minds. I'd make way better business decisions.
Fill in the blank. I'm a success if I
never ever doubt myself.
And what about fill in the blank? I'm a failure if I'm
a failure if I don't acknowledge that that I'm an island. Meaning, if I don't acknowledge that I got here because of other people, I can't do it on my own. Basically.
What is the single best piece of advice that you followed to get where you are today?
If you don't get back up, you'll never win the race.
And what is a piece of well-intentioned advice that you're glad you ignored to get where you are today?
Oh, be realistic. I cannot stand when people tell me to be realistic. Because every successful person got there because they weren't.
Yeah, that reminds me of that old ad from Apple that it's the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world that are the ones who do.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What character trait do you like best about yourself?
I'm always on the lookout for opportunities outside my comfort zone.
And what about the character trait you like the least about yourself?
I sometimes care too much, way too much about what others think about me.
Fill in the blank. I believe every child should have the opportunity to
Fail without being criticized.
If you could suggest one piece of self-improvement that everyone on earth would adopt, what would it be?
Think more, do less.
If you could have any superpower, comic book superpower, what would it be?
Oh, read people's minds.
So you're going superpower is also a talent or skill. All right. If you could have dinner with anyone alive or dead, who would it be?
Martin Luther King.
An hospitable nearby planet has been discovered and you've been recruited to help colonize it. All your needs will be taken care of there, and you can take any 3 luxury or personal items with you that you wish. What are they?
A bag of seeds, a woman, and Wi-Fi.
Love it. All right. Last one, Alex. You've just won a Lifetime Achievement Award, and we want your acceptance speech. There won't be any music to cue you or rush you off the stage, so you can get to all of the thank yous that you need or any of the personal causes you want to champion. This is your soapbox, so let her rip.
All right. Well, first of all, these are all amazing questions, by the way. Yeah, but my soapbox would be we need to stop bashing, bullying, and hating each other online. We need to start loving and praising and supporting each other online, helping other people chase their dreams, even if it's different from their own. That's a really powerful one for me because I've seen so many of my friends that have given up music because they got bashed for one of their songs, and it just burst their self-esteem. And so I think we need to do a lot more supporting online than bashing and hating online. It would make the world a totally different place.
All right. I dig it. You hear that, guys? Quit bashing each other.
Yeah.
The YouTube comment section is one of the biggest cesspools in the world.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Alex, you have been wonderful. I want to thank you one more time for joining us all today. I think everybody here has learned a lot and certainly been entertained. So thanks for stopping in.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much, Shane. Appreciate it, man.
Once again, that was singer, artist, and actor Alex Boyé. For more information, current projects, and booking, please visit alexboye.com. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. You are listening to the Live to Create podcast, and this is Shane Omgren reminding you to dream big, be inspired, and live creatively.